India whitewashed New Zealand in the T20Is. New Zealand returned the favour in the ODIs. It's time now for the Test series to commence, with the first Test starting in Wellington on Friday. Before we go ahead, there is a team update from the New Zealand camp where Neil Wagner won't be part of the squad as he's headed home to be with his wife for the birth of their first child. Matt Henry has been called up as a replacement and is with the squad in Wellington. Here are 5 things to watch out for from this match on ESPNcricinfo Matchday. At number 5, can India breach Fort New Zealand? New Zealand is one place India do not tour too often. In fact, in the last 20 years, there have been only 3 previous instances of India playing a Test series in New Zealand. The hosts won both Tests in 2002. India pulled off a Test series win in New Zealand in 2009 under MS Dhoni when they won the 3-match series 1-0. And the last time India played a Test series here was in 2014 when New Zealand took the 2-match series 1-0. Going on recent form, India are on a high, winning each of their last 7 tests, the last 4 of which were wins by an innings. New Zealand, on the other hand, would want to erase memories of their 3-0 whitewash in Australia earlier in the Aussie summer, as they resort back to the comfort of home conditions. At home is where New Zealand have been extremely dominant, not losing a test on the last 11 occasions since March 2017. In fact, since 2013, New Zealand have lost just 2 of the 14 test series they've played at home, making this an extremely tough challenge, even for an informed Indian side. At number 4, win the toss, bowl first at the Basin Reserve. Conventional wisdom dictates that win the toss and bat first in tests, but this does not apply at the Basin Reserve, where if we look at the last 5 tests, every time the team winning the toss has elected to bowl first and has ended up winning the match on 4 of the 5 occasions. The average first innings score of below 300 is also a good indicator of how teams have not been able to put up big scores when put into bat first. There isn't too much of a difference in averages between the pacers and spinners, even though pacers have bowled more overs and got more wickets. The toss therefore might become crucial in deciding the outcome of this match, given that both teams will go in with a relatively strong bowling attack. At number 3, Ross Taylor's unique ton. He championed his team's cause through the ODI series, and now Ross Taylor is at the cusp of a unique milestone in international cricket. Taylor is set to become the first player to play 100 matches across all 3 international formats when he takes the field at the Basin Reserve on Friday. And fittingly, Ross Taylor will take the field for the 100th time in Test cricket on a ground where he is the highest run scorer in the format, ahead of the likes of his mentor Martin Crowe and his captain Kane Williamson. His 1,226 runs have come at an average of over 64 and has 11 scores of 50 or more in the 21 innings he has played here. He also wouldn't mind playing India at home, against whom he averages over 50 in 7 innings with 2 centuries to boot. India managed to dismiss Taylor only once in the 3-match ODI series and would be keen to counter the threat he poses in the longest format of the game. At number 2, India bank on their pace tank. The linchpin of India's success story in tests over the last 12 months or so has been their pace attack. The numbers also validate how well India's pacers have gone about their business since January 2018, where India has the best team-wise pace bowling average among all test-playing nations, bettering teams like the West Indies, Australia and South Africa. How well India's pace attack does this series is sure to go a long way in determining India's success, especially given how their collective performance gave the team a first-ever Test series win in Australia last season. And finally, at number 1, some tough selection calls for India. Virat Kohli all but confirmed Prithvi Shaw as Mayank Agarwal's partner to open the innings for India in Rohit Sharma's absence at Wellington. But there are still a couple of other calls which he needs to make before the toss on Friday. The big one, of course, who will keep wickets between Rishabh Pant and Wriddhiman Saha. Let's first have a look at their record as Test batsmen when playing in the Sena countries, that's South Africa, England, New Zealand and Australia. And it is pretty evident that Pant has a much higher batting average in comparison to Saha and has also scored a century each on India's last tours of England and Australia. Saha's batting record, on the other hand, doesn't inspire much confidence. If we leave the batting aside and look at them purely as wicketkeepers, then it is Saha who enjoys the team management's backing in this regard, as he was picked ahead of Pant for each of India's home test series against South Africa and Bangladesh. So it will be intriguing to see if India go with the better keeper or the better batsman for this particular series. The other call will be to choose the frontline spinner between Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja. And as we look at their test bowling record in the Sena countries, there isn't a massive difference in their averages, although Ashwin has played more games. It will be interesting to see who India go with as their first choice spinner, as neither of them has too much experience of playing in New Zealand. Ashwin is yet to play a test in New Zealand, while Jadeja played both tests on the 2014 tour and picked up just the 3 wickets in 4 innings. Now, before we say goodbye, let's have a look at the World Test Championship standings and where these teams stand before the beginning of this series. India have been on a roll, winning every match in each of the 3 series they've played, sitting pretty on top with 360 points, 54 more than second-placed Australia. New Zealand are at number 6 with 60 points from the 2 series they've played and are yet to register a series win in the Test Championship. If they win both matches here, they can leapfrog Sri Lanka, Pakistan and England to secure the crucial number 3 spot in the standings. Let's hope we have a fascinating series on our hands, and do remember to follow the entire coverage around it on ESPNcricinfo.